It was an ordinary day at Star, we thought. The normal workload had all been sought. Employees conferring with one another, wondering who can help and who not to bother. Managers and directors having meetings of the minds, debating the issues of so many kinds. Lance and Chris sitting at Roger's desk, waiting for the meeting to progress. Shamika strolls in and says, and interrupts, I'm sorry, I got nervous. Shamika strolls in and interrupts, stating the group is upset that PAR is corrupt. Roger mumbles several odd words, nothing that Chris and Roger and Lance haven't ever heard. Roberta and Margie come into the scene and give their thoughts and comments to the team. Mike and Maurice stop on by and advise that the call queue is up and we are none the wise. Chris gets on his computer and hits the IM, lets everybody know that the calls are now coming in. Brenda calls out, hey, we now have lost ATI. And Patricia and Don yell, oh great, oh my. Janice takes a call from an upset client in Kentucky, and Don and Tina laugh, saying, we're going to Lucky's. Howard and Rob still man the calls, while Lakeisha and Dave are climbing the walls. Greg and Daniela are losing their smiles to the whims and craziness and all the wiles. Crystal and Dee and Ariel still keep their cool. They're trying not to be nobody's fool. You and Shamika now want to leave town, and Larry and Terry tell us that key binding is down. Roger and Lance and Chris unite and pull together the crisis before night. Worst thing is that Joe the Temp is stopping in, and there might be some hell to pay. So Chris and Lance get on the horn and demand the help before the scorn.
I'm sorry. Joe the Temp.
Roger sits and thinks and now plays all his cards. He knows his stuff and waits his guard. He hopes his ingenuity has made its slice. Now the shots are called, time to pay the price. Now everyone is working to pull this together with the hopes and fears floating on a feather. Shamika now pulls in all her favors, and Accenture works with all their labor. Frank Aducci calls Roger and says he's willing to work, and for all of us at this time, this was a perk. Now, PAR is still down and doing flips, but support says they got some helpful tips. Now, we're finally getting on the ball, but still key binding is down and all, so Chris now starts to show his stuff and makes these calls and show he's tough. Lance feels like he's got to chip in somehow, so he asks his secret backups to step up now. So he calls from the group. Are now saying PAR is engaged. Calls are no longer in a rage. My hands are shaking. Key binding is now working and all is well, but ATI is still shot to hell. But a factor was left out and a call went to Mike. He spoke to Larry, and now they're in tight. Support called Roger and said ATI is now up, so Roger relieved and grabbed his coffee cup. He passed along the info to Chris and Lance, glad he worked his one last chance. Now finally the programs are now working and are good. We're just another family and the first day in the neighborhood. Roger is now all calmed and but already frayed, while his boss Joe strolls in and asks, how was your day? Roger smiled and said, before long, it's going good. My team and I, together we stood, glad you came by to stop and chat, because we are glad we know where it's all at.
Excellent, Marie, excellent. Oh, that was great.